Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to my talk about Git basics. I'm Tristan. I'm an architect developer at Theodo. It's been 2 years since I arrived at Theodo, which is an awesome company. And today I'm gonna talk to you about Git basics, so you can fully understand what's going on when you're using the basics command about Git. And it's very, very important to understand the basics of Git because it's a tool that you use almost every day. Like, I don't know, I make 10 to 15 commits a day. So you must master this tool. Okay, what is Git? So Git is a version control system. It's a distributed and non-linear. It is an amazing tool, as I just said. What is a VCS, so a version control system? It's something that enables you to save multiple versions of your work. Nothing more. Just to control your version and to save them. Like you would do with an Excel file, you would rename it version 1, version 2, version 2 final. Okay, this does the job for you. What does it mean that it's distributed? It means that the versions are shared on a network. So your computer burns, you still have your versions saved on the network. Non-linear. Okay, maybe you have seen some drawing like that. That's exactly what it means. That means that the versions can come from anywhere. You don't need to be very one after the other. And a tool, what is very important to remember is that Git is the tool to achieve a purpose. So my purpose is to bring value to my clients, and so should be yours. And you use it exactly for that. Okay, so why should you care about Git? Concretely, I have web commits that I really like. You must know about XKCD. So is it worth the time? Which is a very simple thing. How many times do you use Git? How many times, how much time do you think you can shave off by mastering Git? And it means it results in how much time can you use to master Git. So, for example, let's say I would use Git 50 times a day, and I'm capable of shaving off 1 minute for each time I use Git just by knowing how its command works. Okay, it means that on 5 years, I can spend 8 weeks just to progress on Git and still be on the same schedule. Okay, so I think you're all convinced that it's very fun. We want to know more about Git. How to improve? Read Git outputs. So Git is very, very verbose, and it's a tool that explains everything it will do and explains everything that you can do with it, and it's really, really very helpful. Read Git Documentation. Git has the most amazing documentation I've ever seen about any tool on the web. It's better than Linux documentation, better than any tool I know. Go to the internet. Git is a tool used by a lot of people. On Stack Overflow, 5 of the 15 most voted questions are about Git. So you can't say that you didn't find help about Git if you didn't try. Listen to my talk and read my slides attentively, of course. And finally, draw. If you don't draw, you don't understand anything about Git. This one is really, really important. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you about 3 major concepts. First one is a commit. So maybe you already know about what is a commit. I'm gonna explain to you exactly how it works. So what is a commit? A commit is made of a tree, which itself is made of trees and blobs, the timestamp of a log message of 0 or more parents, and it identified by a unique hash. So you didn't understand anything I talked about. So let's see with the drawing. So concretely, you have to draw to understand what is a commit. So here is a list of commits, and the arrows are representing the relation between the parent commit and a commit. So here we have a blue commit, till, identified by a unique hash. It has a certain number of parents, here, 2. And what is in it, it's a snapshot of the entire project. Nothing more, nothing less. How to see a commit? With the command line, with Git, you have a command which is named git show, which can show you the inside of a commit and show you exactly the difference between this commit and the previous one. Okay, so it's very funny to use. How can you make a commit? How do you do commits? You have a command named git commit, you have git merge, you have git cherry pick, you have git rebase. I won't talk about git rebase, but it's one of my favorite tool in Git. Okay, git commit. How do you work with git commit? You add changes, and then you commit with a message. What is git add? So there are 3 areas in Git. There is your working directory, the staging area, and the .git directory. What is your working directory? It's what you are using right now. The staging area are the changes that you want to make into a commit, and the .git directory, the repository, is where everything is saved, really. It's where they are the real commits. So for you, what you have to understand is that when you add something from your working directory, it goes into the staging area. When you git commit, it goes from the staging area to the directory. And you can use git checkout to go from the directory to the working directory. It's not very important for this talk, but it's very nice to know the differences between this area, these 3 states, for more advanced concepts. So what is merge? A merge commit takes the diff between the command ancestor and the first parent commit, and the diff between the command ancestor and the second parent commit, and applies them together. Well, huge. Okay, a git takes the diff between the command ancestor and the first parent commit. This is my first parent commit. This is my second parent commit. This is my command ancestor. And I make a merge commit. I try to apply the difference between the first parent commit and the command ancestor and the second parent and the command ancestor to a common diff. And that's make my merge commit. Okay, git merge can use more or less than 2 parents. For example, let's say that I have a first parent commit, which is the yellow commit, and a second parent commit, which is the blue commit. What will happen if I use git merge? I will have my command ancestor, which is the yellow commit, and the merge commit will be the second parent commit. Okay, this is a very fundamental concept of Git, which is named fast forward. If you merge 2 commits where the first one is a parent direct or not of the second one, then it simply takes the second parent commit as a merge commit. What does it mean concretely? It means that the diff between the command ancestor and the first parent commit, and between the command ancestor and the second parent commit, it's just a diff that you can see between the yellow and the blue commit. We don't need to do some branching to achieve what we want as a merge commit. Therefore, we can say that git merge is a generalization of a git commit, because every commit is a merge of itself and its parents. What is git cherry pick? Git cherry pick, a cherry pick commit takes the diff between a commit and its direct parent and applies it to another commit to make a whole new commit. What does it mean? I have a difference between the yellow and the orange commit, and I want to apply it on the green commit. Sorry. So here I take the yellow diff and apply it directly to the green commit to make a whole new commit, which is the blue commit. Okay, another very important concept in Git are branches. So, what is a branch? A branch is a pointer to a commit. That's about it. So, there's nothing more to a branch than just a pointer. It means that the master branch is at a certain commit. How can you move branches? You can move branches when you're a branch pointing to a commit and you make a new commit. The branch moves with the new commit. It means when you make a commit, the green commit here, your branch goes to the green commit automatically. What does it mean beyond a branch? Git has a very special pointer named head, which references the current branch, or more generally commits you're on. It means what you are actually looking at right now. Look, you can look at a branch or a commit, and when you're looking at a branch and you make a new commit, the branch follows you. Moving branches. How can you move a branch manually? You use the command reset. For example, here I have my green commit, which is pointed at by the master branch, and I want to point master branch to the orange commit. So I use git reset --hard with the hash of the commit, and I can move my master branch to this commit. I can change branch amount. So I can change branch using git checkout. Suppose I am looking at the master branch right now and I want to go to the staging branch. I use git checkout and my head pointer moves to the staging branch. And I'm right now looking at the green commit after that. How can I merge branches? So merging branches is exactly like merging commits. It's just merging the commits that your branches point towards to. So here, suppose I'm looking at the yellow commit with my head pointer on it, and suppose I have a staging branch. If I use git merge staging, what will happen? I will have a commit which is a direct result of the merge of the yellow and the blue commits. And my head will move towards my new commit that I just created. How can I see branches? I have a very helpful command, it's named git branch. You can see everything. You can use git log to see how are your commits how you can see the graph of your recent commits and where are the branches pointed towards. So here you can see that my head is at this commit, EA21, and there is a branch which is named fix function validator alias require, and another branch named Tristan fix function validator require, and there are other branches here pointing to this current commits. What is a remote? Okay, third very important concept of Git. So a remote is a version of your project hosted on the network. Right now, everything we talked about before was just related to your local version of the project and nothing was linked to the network. Okay, so concretely, what do you use to have a remote in Git? You have a name of the remote and you have an URL for fetching and URL for pushing. Okay, I will explain to you what is fetch and push right now. So before that, why work with remote? Save your work, of course. Share code with others. So you all have the same code shared with Git. Deploy project on multiple machines. You can use Git to make deployment. Okay. What is a remote tracking branch? That's something very linked to the concept of remote. So a remote tracking branch is a mirror of a foreign branch that exists on a foreign repository that you host locally. What does it mean? It means there are some versions of your project online, and you have a branch here origin/master, which is a branch which tracks the master branch which lives on the origin repository. And you know that probably this branch origin master is up to date with the real master branch. Probably you have to stay in sync to have the same content locally with what is on the network. So that's exactly what I mean here. You have to stay in sync. How do you stay in sync? You have three major commands: git fetch, git push, and git pull. What is git fetch? So I try git fetch origin master, and what happens here? Git fetch just updates your local mirror branch with what is on the network. What is git push? So suppose I'm pushing the particular blue commit to the master branch on the origin repository. What happens is that the network versions of the repository is updated with the new commit, and the branch is moved on the networked version of the repository. Okay, and what happens then? Your own tracking branch is also updated to track the change that you just pushed to the repository. What is git pull? That is a command that you use almost every day, very often. Git pull is simply a git fetch plus a git merge. It's very important to understand it like that. So here I have my branch on origin, which is master branch. On my local repository, I have an origin master tracking branch, which is not up to date with what is on the origin repository. So first, what does git pull? It does the fetch. So it takes the blue commits, updates them for you. It marks the tracking branch on the right commit for you. That's the fetch part. And now it does a merge commit and updates your HUD. So that's exactly what is git pull. It's very important to remember that. For you, when you're using git pull, you not very often see merge commits like that, because you're using fast forward merge commits. So in the context of fast forward, what does a git pull looks like? You have a yellow commit, which is tracked by your origin master tracking branch, which is not up to date with the blue commit with the master branch. You pull. So first you fetch. So you just grab the commit that you don't know, and you put the origin master tracking branch on it, and then you merge, which is simply moving your head pointer to the new commit. That was the merge. So what else can you do with Git afterward? You can use diff, tags, archive, rebase, checkout, patch, and a lot of other concepts that I won't talk about here because I don't have time. And globally, this was a very, very superficial introduction to Git here, but most important for me it is that you understand what is going on internally with these three major concepts of commits, branches, and remotes. And that's all I have to say about it. So thank you very much, everyone. If you have questions now, in English or in French.
Can you show us again the sort of fifth slide, please?
Fifth slide. It's the...
No, it's about the merge, I think.
Merge, okay.
Based on your explanation.
Okay, merge is right there. This one?
So this one is okay for me.
Okay, the merge with this one, It is a fast-forward merge.
This one, I didn't understood your explanations.
Okay, so this one is a fast-forward merge. This one is also the same fast-forward merge with a bit more of an explanation of what is going on. So we can take this one to understand.
Okay, so you have 3 branches.
I have an history with the yellow commit, which is the first parent commit. Another history with the second parent commit.
Same branch.
It is exactly the same commit,
Right.
which is very, very important to understand. So what's going on when you try to merge these two together? They have in common everything up to the first parent commit. And so Git decides not to make a branching for the merging, but just to apply them together with the commits becoming the second parent commit. This is the concept of fast-forward merging.
I don't get which commit you want to merge in the branch.
Okay, so here I didn't write a branches concept, but I can show you how it works with pull, which is exactly this concept of merging. Here you have a branch which is called master branch, and you want to merge this master branch with your origin/master personal branch. So what you do is a git pull origin master, but suppose you have already fetched. So we have already done our fetch. The command that we try to apply is git merge origin/master. And right there, we can see that between our personal master branch, which was our personal head pointer, which is the branch we were trying to merge into. We are trying to merge into head the origin/master branch. And they have in common all their history until the yellow commit. And so, because the history is common until the parent commit, Git decides that the merge commit should be the origin master branch commit.
It wasn't clear because